How's it going, guys? It is your boy Parks here. Today I'm coming at you guys with a Catacombs guide on how to get the Catacombs gear and how to get it quickly, in my opinion. So first off, I'm going to give a quick little overview. Now I'm going to give you all the locations on where to get the pieces of gear, and then I'm going to show you guys, or tell you guys rather, my opinion on how to get the gear the fastest and what I did. So this is the Catacombs. This is an area in Wizard City that you unlock once you become level 130. Now, one thing is you have to have done the Drains dungeon in Old Town before you do this. I think you unlock that at level 10, so this is not going to pop up unless you complete that dungeon. So once you get here, the first thing you're going to do is, well, you're probably going to defeat the trash mobs, but the first major dungeon is right here in Abandoned House. So the Catacombs is where you can get all the new best level 130 gear, and it has a piece for everything. I'll show you guys here in a little bit, but in my opinion, the meta is to rock the hat, the boots, and the athame, and you get a set bonus for that. That's the whole point of the Dragoon's gear. As you can see, it drops a really nice set bonus. If you have 3 pieces of gear, you're going to get a damage increase for your school. 2 pieces of gear, you get accuracy. And of course, you also get the pip conversion, which is pretty sweet. Now, Catacombs gear drops in 3 tiers. It drops in tier 1, which is the Dragoon's gear. It drops in tier 2, which is the Vanguard's gear. And it drops in tier 3, which is the Soldier's gear. Now, the pieces of gear are not too different. The only main difference is the Vanguard's gear has 1 less crit and 1 less damage, and so on and so forth up until Soldier's gear. Now you might be asking yourself, oh, what's the point of going for Dragoon's gear if I can just get slightly worse gear? It's only 1 damage difference. Well, the Dragoon's gear is the only piece of gear that has the set bonus, and the set bonus is what's really going to make a big difference for you. Now the main thing is I am over here where you go and actually get the gear, and this is Sasha Emberforge. She's the one who actually sells you all the recipes for the gear. And the thing about it is, in order to get that tier 1 gear, you have to have the tier 2 gear. So that's where the big thing is. So as I showed you guys, the Abandoned House, which is King Detritus, he drops the hat. Now, the robe is dropped by Sir Gregor, which I definitely do not recommend going for unless you are using it for PvP, and here's the reason why. The thing is that it gives no damage at all. It does have really good stats. It has a lot of health, good power pip, good block, really good resist, even for storm. Jades, I do recommend going for this for you. As you can see here, ice 19 resist, which is awesome. The big thing is it does not give you any damage. So if you want to be an offensive wizard, which most people do, definitely recommend going for Malistair's robe, or whichever is best for your school. The last main thing is Prince Vigor drops the boots, and the thing about Prince Vigor is I got so bored and was dreading farming him because his drop rate is absolutely terrible. And not only that, but in order to do all of these dungeons, you have to fight prerequisite bosses. The first one is going to be in King Detritus, which drops all of the hats. The second is going to be Sir Gregor, which drops the robes. The third is Prince Vigor. The fourth is going to be the Renegade Druid, which drops the Athames. And the fifth is going to be Shatharlith, I don't know how to pronounce it, who drops the amulets. And then you have finally the Devourer, who drops the wands and the rings. Now, I don't recommend going for the wands and the rings, I'll show you why here. So here's the Storm Ring. It gives a little more health, a little more crit, actually a lot more crit, but way less damage than the Caramel Rings. I suggest you go for the Caramel Rings because they give more damage. Comparable crit, and most of them have circle jewels, so you can socket critical to catch up with the lost critical for Dragoon's gear. If you combine it with the hat and the boots as your set pieces, you're gonna have much less damage. A little more critical, but much less damage. And with the new critical update, I think it's better to have more damage. And besides, you can make up for the lost critical with the caramel rings anyway. Same thing goes for the athame here. It does give good damage, really comparable to Aphrodite's, an insane increase of health. But the reason I suggest you go for the athame here is because this actually does not drop any power pip. Now you might be telling yourself, well, it does have a triangle socket. That is true, but the fact that it doesn't give any power pip at all just means you're going to have 80% power pip. With Aphrodite's, with the 10%, I already have 80% power pip, and with the all of my sockets, I could get myself back to 100% power pip. It is so annoying to not have 100% power pip, guys, I swear to you. So that's why I went for Aphrodite's instead of Dragoons. There are caramel themes that are actually better than Aphrodite, so I suggest going for them, but they're really hard to farm for. Anyways, the main reason I suggest you do my method and you don't even craft the athame and the ring is that the bosses are absolutely horribly hard, time consuming, and have terrible drop rates. I got all the way up to the Renegade Druid to try to go for the athame because I wanted to get the amulet. Guys, don't do that. I promise you, don't do that. It is the most dreadful thing ever. The bosses cheat. The bosses are extremely difficult. Even if you have a good group, it is so difficult. So here's what I recommend doing. Do not farm Prince Vigor. Maybe give it a go or two. Farming Prince Vigor means you have to fight Sir Gregor. And he and his other boss, which is like, it's two bosses, one's life and one is another school, doesn't matter, they're both terrible, they cheat horribly, they're so hard to do, and I don't recommend it. What I recommend doing actually is farming King Detritus, guys, because King Detritus, let me show you guys. To get the Dragoons, you need 300 extracts, you need the 50 salts, and the main thing is the crystals. Everyone's always like, oh, I can't figure out how to get crystals. Crystals the hard drop. Prince Vigor does drop crystals. He's a really good source of dropping crystals, but I still don't recommend farming for him just because Vigor is terrible. And also, the main thing is, if you go here to Sasha, now I did see on a YouTube video that this area over here, the Photic Crypt, and this area right here, which I don't have unlocked, which I don't really care, I saw that these two areas are, you know, relatively easy to solve and do have a good drop rate for reagents. Still don't recommend it. You can if you want to. You have to do all the other bosses to get to those though. Don't recommend it. But if you go here to Sasha Ember Force, she actually has recipes for transmuting, which is awesome. So here is literally the answer to all your problems. 10 salt is so easy, guys. 10 salt is so easy. You pretty much get 5 to 10 salts in Abandoned House. And salts, I mean, I transmuted a little bit of them, but I really didn't have to. It was mainly just the crystals I was transmuting. But extracts, you get so many of them. The thing is, I suggest farming King Detritus the whole time. Don't even bother with all these other guys, and here's why. I showed before that you do need the tier 2 to craft the tier 1, and you're probably thinking to yourself, well, how am I going to get the tier 2 if you don't want me to do Prince Vigor, if you don't want me to do the druids or the amulet bosses? Well, here's the thing. The tier 3 can be used to drop the tier 2, and the only thing you need to craft the tier 3 is just reagents, all of which can be found from Abandoned House. I know it's a little more time consuming, but I promise you it is more than likely going to be easier than going and farming Prince Vigor and doing all those incredibly tough bosses to get the tier 2 and to craft the tier 1 with it. I promise you it's not worth it. That's what I actually crafted the Vanguard and then crafted the Dragoon amulet. It's 100% worth it, guys. Just believe me here, do it. And just another reason why I'm telling you guys to farm the Abandoned House is because it is super easy. It's 3 fights. 2 fights are just quick little mobs that have about 3,000 health. And the last fight is King Detritus, who's also very easy and can be killed in 2 rounds. Just look up the 2-round strat. I'm going to link a very good video in the description, and I'm also going to make a video about it too. And I just wanted to give a little side tips for my opinion on getting the Catacombs gear, because a lot of people still struggle and it takes them forever don't recommend fighting any of these bosses, just fight King Detritus. I hope you guys found this video helpful. Thank you so much for watching. Leave more tips in the comments below, and I hope everyone has a great day. Thank you.